Hey everyone, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks meeting for the 4th of September 2025. There's always just a few signing items we like to go through, which is if you don't know what Notebooks 2.0 is, it's a full rewrite of the Notebooks, Kubeflow Notebooks project. We've been working on it for a long time. There's some Google Docs here which explain what the design was, but the motivation is that it's better for everyone. It's more expandable. We have an abstracted kind of workspace kind, which lets admins add their own types of IDEs or other environments that have things like groupings. You can add the users. Pretty much the main change is that users don't have to think about the Kubernetes underlying stuff anymore. The admins can define what the options are that are available to them. Well, they still have to think a little bit, but it's a bit better than actually just directly filling in a pod spec through the spawner. Also, it's reconciled as well. You can do monitoring. There's so much cool stuff. There's a roadmap. The tracking board we'll come back to, I think, but I imagine there's been a lot of work going on there. Maybe. Yep. Okay. We'll come back to that in the Notebooks 2.0 section, I think. We'll kind of blast through these other ones because I think most people who are working on the other stuff are not here. So yeah, so I just wanted to quickly remind everyone. Oh, sorry. If anyone's new, they can say hi now if they want. If not, then you can either raise your hand or say hi in the chat. Cool. So I just wanted to remind myself we need to do this, which is that right now the calendar syncs don't work. So if we had updates to the calendar, we can't do them, and also Google Groups. And this has been a problem for a long, long time. There's a GCP account we don't have access to. We probably need to put as much pressure as we can on Google's OSPO to donate this GCP account or give us access. Well, we need to donate it either way. But if that doesn't happen, we need to find another solution. But it's ridiculous if it doesn't happen. It's just a cluster. It's just a Kubernetes cluster account. And if there's if there's a reason why it can't be migrated, we need to figure that out. So if someone has contacts to Google's current OSPO, please tell me. It'd be great. Yes, YouTube recording. So I know that Andy was volunteering before the call, but I think we should have another person who's able to upload the YouTube recordings for these meetings so that people can watch them, and maybe we can have a more standardized way of posting them in the Slack channel. We could even make a bot that does it, but not the editing, but the posting whenever there's a new one in the playlist. Does anyone else really want to help here? Or well, Andy's probably fine for now, but does anyone else want to help? I mean, then it makes it more confusing as to who's responsible. But
I would have helped, but I don't have the system to help out here.
What do you mean by system?
I only have the Fedora, so I don't have MacBook.
That would make it. You need a software that's like, because on Windows you'd need to install like Adobe or something. On Mac you can use the pre-built stuff, which is why it's easy. You can use. There is tools. Obviously open source tools that are for video editing, but just for ease of editing, I'd say probably it is best if someone does it with a Mac because it's very easy. But if not, we can look into other ways of doing it. You can even do it with FFmpeg, you know what I mean? Probably. Okay.
No one else volunteers, you can calm down.
Yeah. Let's we should okay. Let's start with effectively we just need to get people access to the Kubeflow community YouTube. I don't want to put it all on Andy either, so maybe we can alternate or something like that. But let's start with Andy and alternate between Matthew and Andy. So it's done each week. That's cool. And Hashad, we can say also volunteered, but would need some editing software figured out for Linux. Okay. Cool. Okay, dashboard stuff. Do we know what's happening here? Andy, maybe?
Yeah, we have a developer based in Israel that's been working on this. It's really hard for her to join these calls. She's one of the other developers that's been helping actually just went on paternity leave, welcomed a new son into their family. So she actually is kind of taking over and trying to sync with Kimonis to get the notebooks V1 plan in order. And she gave me a rough draft of that I'm reviewing today. So hopefully she will pivot back to the Kubeflow dashboard PR. It's something like image 115.
Have we had contact with Kimonis about this
He,
dashboard?
I was on Slack with him like a week ago, but then I haven't been able to hear back from him since then. So I've done a couple rounds of reviews on this. The checks actually all pass green, but I think there's some parts in the test that like clearly should be failing that aren't. So it's just now like am like, I feel like we're like 90% of the way through this thing. It's just now going through a fine-tooth comb on some of the GHAs to make sure even if the checks pass, are they actually working or not? Because there's a lot of things that might run label selectors that like don't return hits. Maybe it was already broken or not, but it's very, I mean, it's a large PR, but it's very, very close at this point. So I'm hoping next week we can get momentum to actually get that merged. But it is close and we've went multiple rounds on it.
Yes, we do also need to go through these old PRs at some point. Okay, yeah. So, is it a point where I should be looking at it, or
I hope we'll be at that point next week. Like I said, we're on like one last round of reviews that I would like to think that next week we should be good.
cool? We should try and also find some maintainers for it, I guess. I mean, Julius probably is a reasonable candidate, but we need to find some actual front end maintainers for the back dashboard piece. Um, Okay, yeah. So yeah, obviously the tasks there are. We need to obviously add owners and other things as well. Okay, yes. And what does this say? Because yeah, okay, interesting.
So yeah, that's a lot of that is like why this kind of like blew up, right? Central dashboard to dashboard, central dashboard Angular. We renamed whatever to pod default. So it's like, that just touches a lot of files. But like I said, I feel pretty good about it. It's just like random places that didn't get updated, but we're very, very close.
Also, yeah, I'll put a task here that we definitely need to. Well, we won't be push. Well, does your PR add the CI build? Is it intending to push before the release as well, like to on commit? Probably.
It is, yeah. I mean, I'd have to like look at those release ones. That was one of the final tasks I wanted to sync with the developer on, is just having her fork this to show the release process work on her repo to verify.
Registries. Um. So we we are the owner and make the Kubeflow dashboard repo able to push. We need to do this. We really need to do that. Okay, cool. Let's move on then. Do that before we merge that PR, but we might forget. Okay. So Notebooks 1.0. I think you said there was some stuff going on here.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like taking this, and I'm looking at, someone's just shared with me an internal like Google Doc note, but I hope to there's a few things I just want someone else to be this Epic owner, so I'm having them like work through it. But I hope to have these issues written up soon, like early next week.
Okay, cool. And what's the actual status? Like, is that how far away from being able to do something or move down the list of tasks?
I think like initially we just need to get something opened up to agree on like names of stuff. I imagine we're probably not going to rename any components here, but with Kubeflow notebooks, right? If we're going to push, we can talk about this actually in the context of one of the changes I posted in Slack, and we can talk about later. But like how we want to push to this registry with like naively, if we go to ghcr.io/Kubeflow/notebooks, our particularly if we're just going to tag images that are built on like PRs or merged with a commit hash, you then like it's V1 versus V2 isn't as obvious. And so I just wanted to like level set how we want to differentiate that, or if we care to.
Well, it's more like we just don't use the same names. Like, I guess the question.
So
No.
yeah, so like in this example thing I did for V2 publishing, I actually called this registry Notebooks V2. Not that we need to stick with that name, but I think some better way to distinguish is warranted, or at least worth discussion. We can decide how we want to or not. But
Yeah, and there's obviously let's get a specific proposal and then we can debate that, I think. But
yep,
I
so
think
that'll
those
be
are the
one of the
two.
first that'll be one of the first issues we get open, just to align on all of those things. And I'll
think
make
we were
sure I
debating
can
this though,
make
like,
sure that's open tomorrow.
I'm assuming there's no possibility we want to keep pushing to the old one.
I mean, that is a possibility as well. So yeah,
Okay,
it's, however we feel.
cool. Because we can't really, because no matter what we do, we can't really delete the old ones. So it's kind of like, that will always be there regardless. It's just the debate as to how we want to structure it. It does let us do lineage a bit easier if we use a new one. But anyway, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the first thing we need to do, and I think starting to grind on the actual like migration of stuff won't be too bad. It'll be a lot easier than the dashboard work, and a lot of the developers in Israel that help with the dashboard work, I would imagine, will pick this stuff up. So I'll at least get that issue opened. I mean, anyone else in terms of naming on this, Matthew? I guess like tag. I mean, you will obviously weigh in. Should I like tag Kimonos and Julius on this, or given it's Notebooks V1, who else should we draw
I think we should
attention?
just like come to a decision and do it. Like whoever, so I lean personally towards the second one. I don't think we need to qualify. I mean, there's obviously a lot of images. The big problem image groups are the ones that I really don't want to merge. Yeah, like the problem is there's so many those container images for the environments. Like that's those like, but then also at some point we're probably gonna have a whole repo that builds those. You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of, like this is the debate, right? It's like, are we just going to keep pushing to the old ones or not? Like, it's very easy to just continue pushing to the old ones. It requires us to make sure we version things correctly, though. It will break the release branches on the old ones, though. That's my only concern. If we ever wanted to push updates to the old version on the Kubeflow repo. We probably do need to use new ones, but this is going to be confusing for people. That's when they look at it, they're like, hey, why has there been no pushes here for ages? But maybe they shouldn't be looking at it because there's thousands of images in the Kubeflow registries anyway. So what are they really going to do? So then it's just a matter of making sure that we have no possibility of colliding with the new ones that we want to use.
Right.
But since Notebooks this is always the name of the repo. So usually, it's not always, but it's usually the name of the repo. So both will come out of here anyway. So it's like, I don't know. There's also the possibility that the 1.0 example notebooks, who knows? Okay, anyway, we'll come back to that. So what's the next steps here? I guess it's to just, do we have a PR ready or something that's going to be like a proposal, or have we talked with people about it?
No, so that's like I said, I was just looking like internally at issues to open up. Liav going on paternity leave. I just added him as an Epic owner, and now he's out. So someone's just writing some stuff up in Google Doc, and I'll get issues opened up imminently.
Cool. Okay, yeah, because obviously we want to try and get I think part of what 1.0 was also related to the scanning and security stuff. I know that Edo wanted to, like, yeah, I think one thing we do need to do regardless is get some security scanning set up for Trivy on that branch. And then
we can put that at the end of this call. I posted a message in Slack on just confusion on how we want to handle Trivy again, just because of the massive number of Docker files. So if we get clarity on that,
so we're not talking about the Docker Trivies. We're just talking about the source code.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I thought we were looking at image scanning.
No, yeah. So like the actual images, I would argue that our security posture, well, there is a lot of debate there. We need to come back and deal with that separately. But anyway, that's more of a security discussion anyway. So probably not best to have publicly. But yeah, so anyway, we just want to be able to get a release. And if not a release, we need to, so that we can meet our security requirements for the notebooks graduation. We just need to get the SSF badge, which means we need a process to resolve CVEs in the code base, not necessarily in the images. You can obviously debate whether the extent to which the images are even part of Kubeflow, right? Like, so the user doesn't have to use them if they care about that security posture. We need to make it maybe explicit that you're responsible for your own images if those images are not our responsibility. Like I can't be responsible for PyTorch bugs, for example, right? Because if you need a PyTorch version 1.2.3, I need you need to use that. You make your own decisions, you know, like and things like that. That's why those ones probably. But when we say Trivy, we mean just code scanning.
Okay, sorry, then we can probably ignore that point.
Yeah, and so like the tasks, I think I don't know if we put it here, right? These ones. So like let's go to this one. So notebooks 2.0. Let's move on. Anyone else got anything for 1.0 before we move on to 2? Okay. So we've got new the FOSSA scanning and stuff. We can probably go through after we do these ones. But so what is the new planning stuff?
So I mean, the goal this sprint is, or I mean, sorry, the goal this round, whatever you want to call it, is the releasing stuff. So I have an epic created in in a single feature right now. I wanted to talk with you. I have just a really simple example PR on the publishing aspect of this. And then I'll get issues created. I figured it'd be easier to talk over the code to make sure I then wrote up issues. So I did try to order these epics in order. There are more that I'll want to research and write up, but I view like this as the right order of things. The last two at the bottom there are long running epics, so that like, kind of breaks the mold, but I would, treat the rest of these as like, we'd want to, close these quote unquote as soon as possible. And then I'll just continue to, write more of these up. But getting the back once we discuss today, I'm hoping I'll be able to get the feature within deploy Kubeflow notebooks sufficiently documented, and then fill in other stuff as we move along.
So I guess the goal here is we should probably, yes. Anyway, so in terms of, so the overall thing we're trying to do is use the planning to actually enable us to keep track of what's happening. You know what I mean? So I guess what's our plan how are we actually going to use this? So like we can create an epic and we can assign them, but we need like to go through them to some extent, right? Maybe we need like it's not really such thing as a backlog, I guess, not a thing, but like what is our process going to be? So like we've got a lot of these, we're doing this kind of ad hoc tracking in here, I guess. Are we going to be able to move these this week?
No, not this week. I mean, it's like absolutely still on my list, but there's, it's just a lot of stuff to write up and research. And a lot of times I feel like I need to kind of bounce some ideas off of you before like writing detailed, like, tasks with acceptance criteria.
Yeah, we need to probably just go through like, we should probably try and get these out of here. I mean, I think that should be a goal,
So these epics we can get out. These are covered, but it's like the other. So I'm totally fine deleting this list because that's represented. It's like other things inferred in this and some of our old school tracking and whatnot. That is. So I'm sorry, if you want me to clean up these short-term goals and epics, I can commit to having that done by next week.
Well, I'm saying we could have a tracking section here still. So like this top one, I don't know, getting rid of some of these we need to go through these carefully.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying will take more time. But the epic one, we probably should be able to.
And we can link them off. Like, I think it's fine to have links and then discussions about them under each meeting. You know what I mean? Like have the active epics, have like effectively the way we go through the notebooks 2.0 section should be like the epics that we're really actively working on. What are they doing? Just so we write down the notes. And so then we can have these kind of like worded, what's our current goal? We should probably have that written somewhere in the doc as well. But like, I don't know if that's in each meeting or if that's just at the top, we can debate. But like, cause that's not really possible to represent in here because it's like an out of band meta discussion. But then but also it gives us an entry point to go say, okay, so we're looking at deploying. Okay, so what do we need to actually do here? Like, so there's these features. Okay, who's working on these features? What's blocking these features?
Right.
Then the meta discussion is, yes, our current goal is to get it deployable, and that's
fair.
So like, I think we can organize time to go through that whenever, really. Like we just need to get it done.
Yep.
And just kind of structure it so that we have the ability to bring people on, and obviously people can give their own feedbacks. But so in terms of right now, though, if we're just talking about our goal is, there's two of them, I guess. One of them is get deployable, and one of them is fix the 1.0 kind of stuff to get that graduation done. But if we're talking about deployment stuff, who owns that? You know what I mean? Like, is it you?
Yes, I guess.
So what are the blockers, I guess, overall that we need to track, not specifically tasks, but just like what is this representative, these features?
Well, so I mean, it'll be that last feature there is what needs fleshed out. I just have, like I said, I hope to use this call to be able to write up the other issues. This one here is just the reminder, at least related to Kubeflow notebooks, for you to set the permissions, but then getting the deploy, the publish, tasks for publishing each of these components. I just wanted to talk over this controller example that I coded up to see if that's good or there are other things that I'm missing there. And then obviously that some sort of script or guide, it will be like the final one.
The controller though? Where'd you say controller?
It is not there. I posted in Slack a link to various resources to discuss today to see if that's representative of how we expect this to look.
Okay. We should probably also wait. What is this section here? Like, by the way, is this what is?
Yeah, that needs to event. That's what I'm saying. Eventually, this will all go away. It's just it takes time, and I just haven't been able to get to that.
Yeah. Okay. We should also probably these ones as well. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna make these a bit smaller so that they're easier to find. Oh, that's not right. Sometimes. Okay, that's confusing. Okay, whatever. We do probably need to clean these up. Okay, but then it's not a huge deal for that. We should be working on the actual tasks, but we just do need to make sure that movement is happening and then resource it appropriately if there's not a movement happening. So to get that to happen, I guess we could just go through what people have been working on, but I do want to try and use it effectively the time we have right now. So other than this faster scanning stuff, which we can talk about after, what is the most important stuff, right? Like that's actually blocking that. If like we could grab more people, what would we put them on right now? Like what is that? Is there anything blocking us from delivering the main epic, which is, what are they? Which of these are the ones that we actually need done soon?
Right. Well, I mean, I think this is our order, right? So we need Trivy scans, and me and Eder still can't access the security tab for this. That's what's blocking this.
Well, this one actually is also, there's a task to actually put the code scanning into the section.
Okay. Yes.
Like that's probably even a bigger one. So that one should be doable by just a PR regardless. But yes, obviously having someone have access to it that isn't me would be nice. But that should be relatively straightforward now that the other PRs merged. The next step here though is, I think we've got it on this list. We might as well just look at it if we're going to talk about it. So obviously need to create it, whatever it's called.
So we did this, but Andre was pinging you because it's like not working.
It's just one of the, I hope this isn't also running in that place.
So like this process doesn't work. It looks like when something syncs, it deletes this.
I think that he might have. Oh, I see. I would check what he was. Well, okay. Well, let me just put that on my list. It is in the internal. I think he was just. I think it was merged, right? It was internal ACL's issue.
So I mean, that PR was merged, but then the group is getting deleted or something. He posted a message in Slack about it. Like you see it, and then some sync runs and it goes away. So it's like it's not working.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll come back to that then. So that. When you say deleted, I don't think that's. I think he was. I don't think you see any new messages, right?
It might be an issue. I'll find. We don't need to. I'll send you some stuff.
Anyway, so yeah,
but like it does not. As of like this morning, it does not work.
So you're not in that team right now.
I'm in that team. It does not give me access to the security tab. The actual automation to grant that something like.
Oh no, that's not. So that he needs to manually do that. That's why.
But like he did do that. He showed me a screenshot of like this group existing, and then some process ran, and his work was blown away. I don't really understand the details, but I'll find where he tagged you.
Interesting. It should be. I think that might just. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so there will be a way to make it work. So the yeah. So then the next steps are these ones for that, so that we can actually start. We need to start pushing the scans into the thing, and obviously we've got a couple of different branches, so we'll need to do one for each
Yes, and I can look. I started to look at it yesterday, but I thought we were doing image scanning, and then I got very confused. So but I'll look at this just on source scanning.
Yeah, it's in addition to like there's the GitHub one as well, and the trivia is just like slightly more advanced. Or we can use the GitHub one as well only, but it doesn't seem as it's not as advanced. Like trivia seems to be able to scan for more things. There was a blog that someone very basically put about it.
Right, but yeah, they talk about image scanning, and
Okay,
that's
yeah.
what I gravitated towards. That's what got us here. Yeah.
Yeah, I can put.
They actually talk about both types of scans, but then I just like looked at model registry and a couple other places, and they were doing image scanning, so that sent me down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will go back to looking at that then. That should be much easier.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so the fossil scanning, we've already set that up.
I did actually confirm finally this morning. They resent the email to me. I don't know what happened the first time, but I am actually in the Fossa app now, so that to do can be removed.
Okay. We've already done this. Me and Andrew did this. So that is something we do need to do as well. For the 1.0 at least. But so I guess are we currently is everything actually scanning correctly when we make pull requests?
I have seen
Yeah, it looks like it.
yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it's just a thing we needed to do. So we just keep monitoring. If things go wrong or weird things happen, please tell me.
I did see a failure on Kubeflow dashboard, but I didn't dig into it just on like a random PR. So I don't know if that's a
Well, I think that's
pre-existing.
probably this. Well, who knows, right? Maybe not actually. But probably just we need to approve something
Yeah.
that or mark something as a duplicate or incorrect or something. We'll
Yeah,
see.
now that I have access, I can look at it. I just got access like 45 minutes ago, so I haven't had time.
Cool. So yeah, this one's just more about for graduation anyway, so it's good. Trivia scanning dependent bot. So yeah, we need to obviously have end-to-end tests. So that's obviously we talk about that one later. These are other things we will come back to. Probably remove these two now. Okay. Okay, anyone else got anything they want to talk about in general before we just go through what people have been working on and then try and unblock some people for things they're working on? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I guess Jenny, you're at the dot always. If
Yep.
you are there.
So yeah, just no significant updates at the moment. I've been working on some internal Patternfly efforts, but that involves support for CSS animations. So with that latest upgrade to the Patternfly version that just went in last sprint, there has been support added for certain CSS animations, but not all of them have been enabled. So just working internally with the Patternfly team there on some changes that will help us get everything enabled and closer to the MUI animation styling and feedback that we're seeing in MUI as well. So that's going to be a win-win. And yeah, that's it for me at the moment. And as always, just continuing styling enhancements and theming maintenance as things arise as well.
Cool. I think probably what we should do is when we're doing this, not you, but like in general, like we should probably do this stand up almost as part of the grooming of the tasks, right? We should almost go through epics overall, like set the scene of what we're doing, look at the features which are blocking, and then have everyone go through their stand up, but then say, hey, I was working on this feature, this task, you know what I mean? And then see how it connects to make sure that people are working on the things that are blocking the epics, I guess, or future stuff. But I'm just thinking about how we'll structure the meeting if we have the new epics cleaned up. Probably should do that. Okay, I'll move past this one for now. But Hashad.
For me, like last week, I was a little busy with the internal work, couldn't get to it. I'll get my 507 hopefully this week ready, and that's what I need the time for.
Is there any way that we could like, I don't know, we should probably, I don't know if anything, we can talk offline if necessary, but like not you, but just in general, like we should probably work with Red Hat to like figure out if we need to get more dedicated time set from some people who are working on it, or if we, you know what I mean? Like, do we have any changes there or? I'm not asking you directly, Hashad, but
There
We
are,
actively
I'm
discussing.
sorry to cut you off, Harshad. I know there are a lot of my work has been on planning and stuff around some of this, Matthew. So in terms of like what we need from upstream, different things on Red Hat, kind of like, on their delivery channel to try to figure things out. So it's a lot of planning right now, but I would imagine those discussions are happening. I don't know where they'll go, but it'll probably be a couple weeks before like that information's disseminated and internalized. So things are happening. I don't know which way the wind will blow.
Yeah, I think having the visibility into what tasks are the ones we're doing will help us, I think, because it will let us point and say this requires, more people and time, if not permanently, just even just, for a fixed period of time, having someone be able to spend a couple of weeks on it. But who knows? We'll see.
From Red Hat perspective, we are working on that.
Cool.
Hello, I'm Adrian. So the idea is that I needed to use Hotshot for something else.
That's
so,
fine. No, I'm not, yeah, not talking.
No, but I mean, like we need also to balance what's going, some things that are going on in Red Hat. So that's why maybe we are struggling a little bit with a few of this stuff, but we will go back soon into full steam.
Cool. Yeah, if you ever want to chat, let's do it. But yeah, let's try and make it make sense for everyone so that we can get people more involved. I don't know. But yeah, cool. Awesome. Good to hear. So I guess Charles?
So last week, Guilherme put up a PR regarding the the kube. There are some Kubeflow. I think it is. Let me show you. He is the top one, actually, the top one, the front-end share libraries. So that library also include the event handler that we use for namespace selector capturing. So my change is just essentially become one line of code because of this library already having all the libraries and Kubeflow code loaded up already.
So when you say one line of code, obviously this is
so this library already include the code I was working on, aka the namespace selector event handler.
So this is from like the one that the model registry used, presumably. Is that why?
Yes, yeah.
I see.
It is. So like we also are trying to use the same code so that it's more uniform and not having so many redundant codes everywhere.
What's the actual package called? Is it like a npm
Yeah,
package?
I think it's on top. If you go to the package.json change in here on the left panel, like there's a package. Yeah, right there. Yeah. So I think those three packages are the ones that are needed.
Where are they pushed from?
This is the same conversation we were having with Jenny, Matthew. This is
okay. Is that the same repo? Is that the same
Yes.
repo?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. And I guess it's related to their model MUI stuff, or
I put it in the chat, but like this is yeah. Oh, yep, that's the one I just posted.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool. It's as long as it's not too like restricting, I guess that's cool.
No, it does a lot of handling and it has more features that we can incorporate in terms of front end capability. So it is actually quite good.
Does it
that we
support
have this.
groups? Does it support groups? I guess not yet.
That's not yet. I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's fine anyway. We need to make that work for everyone. But yeah. Okay. Actually, that's important. Let me just write that up on here as the after release. Did we write that? Yeah, we did actually. Okay. For notebook, for dashboards next release, we should work on the group support in that. Okay, cool. Anything else are you blocked by anything, or is that something that you need reviewed or merged, or?
I think this needs to be merged first. The share library code needs to be merged first, and then my change is in I think 509 or 5 something.
Paulo is reviewing all of this. He's just on PTO, through the end of the week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Is that something Ida can review, or is that not.
Paulo's generally kind of first line of event of Paulo's kind of reviewer, Eddar's approver. So
Cool. I'll leave you
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah,
I
but
guess-
no blockers.
Cool. Okay. Anything you need from us to make you able to work on more things, or what are you going to work on next?
I will
or-
probably chat with Andy on some of the features that we can work on.
I guess,
But,
yeah, what's the next priority? That's probably the best question, right? So if you've already got a PR that's done, then what's the next one?
yeah, so I mean, I'm working on this right now, but there's, we really want to start looking at getting this embedded within like Red Hat's, version of Central Dashboard. So it's kind of open as to whether or not Charles will be on this or, kind of working on, absorbing this, which will probably lead to, upstream discussions as well. I would love if we could get that I think workspace update is kind of a critical keystone right now, because workspace update API will lead us to be able to get the workspace kind update API, which has considerable front end
Yep.
requirements involved in it. And then also that would unblock us from getting the redirects in order. So if, in terms of that epic list that we have in our project board, you see kind of that ordering reflected of update workspaces, update workspace kind, and then handling, I think I call it managing workspace lifecycle, which is really redirects.
I do think deployment definitely needs to come first, but yes, these ones.
Yeah, there's no front end work required for that though. So it's like for Charles to get like unblocked, it's
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. I need to do some work there, obviously, or help. Well, it obviously depends on resourcing for everyone, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I do obviously need to get some PRs merged in there. But of course, I think timing is honestly the major blocker now. Not just my timing, yes, my timing, but also we need to know who's actually got time to work on tasks for the open source part of the project in the short term. Not just from Red Hat, but from obviously other people can work on it too. Cool. Anyone else who hasn't gone? Andy, other than Andy? Anyone else want to say? Okay.
Yeah, so some stuff we can go after the recording, at the tail end of the recording. But so reviews, that first review was like a random review Julius asked me to participate in, some KFAM changes. I finally got that working, and it was a good learning experience to kind of understand how the hell KFAM works. And so this I've now LGTM, so that's kind of on whoever to take that forward. And then the other
if we
one,
don't have a release process for dashboard, it's very dangerous to do releases out of here, right? We have tests. We need to have tests merged in here first, or we do have some, but
tests are merged, yes.
Yeah, it's just a bit. I presume, do we? I don't know if we have end-to-end tests, though, do we? Or
yes,
we do actually. Okay, interesting. Okay, well, is there a test added for this? There is. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, we should probably be careful about reviewing these sort of things, but yes, interesting. Cluster admins as a whole are kind of a dangerous concept, but okay, cool. I see some license failure there, interestingly.
Yes, this is what I was talking about that I hadn't previously been able to investigate, but this is where I noticed the license failure. I'm guessing that's pre-existing because nothing in this PR changed that, but
yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Anyway, cool. I mean,
and then the next PR is what we were talking about with Kubeflow dashboard. This is kind of the mega PR that now it's just kind of like making sure our CI checks are actually sufficient. And some of it's like helpers. It's not the checks themselves, but like helpers that try to check for things being available. Maybe a label selector wasn't updated, but then the test actually still passes, which means we have to kind of fine tooth comb, review all output. But for the most part, it's very, very close. It's just making sure the GHA checks actually work and then verifying the release process. So like I said, hopefully by a week from now, this will be ready.
Is there any, is the actual review, do you expect things to change significantly, or would going through a fine tooth comb with this together help, or not really yet?
I do not expect things to change significantly at this point. Now it's just this script, you know what I mean, is still passing some incorrect label selector that doesn't fail the test kind of stuff. And so it's like that sort of thing.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Let's I guess that's fine. Okay, the notebook, what is this one?
So this is something that I've tested this back and forth. So I think this one's good to go now, which is just adding a makefile for the front end, deploy, undeploy, Docker build. It just didn't exist before.
With the new manifests?
Yes, yes.
Cool. I mean, as long as we have.
I mean, it's literally almost a copy paste of what's done in the back end. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of innovation here, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's this is obviously connected to the having a release process, right? So like, and having some
standardized,
build, like having a build, right? Obviously, the build would presumably use these commands. So like, yeah, I mean, what's our status on that actually? Like that's because again, I think if we're going to focus on nothing else, we should try and make sure that things get deployable, right? What is the blocker there?
This I've LGTM, so we can review this later. I think this is good to merge. Like I said, it's it's not that interesting or controversial.
Yeah, this is, but also it's not. It's also completely impossible to know if it's correct until we actually have a release.
Actually, tie it into a larger thing. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not against it being merged if necessary, but I'm just wondering, like, so what is our status on getting a? So we've merged obviously the manifest for notebooks for notebooks 2.0 back and front end controller. Maybe there's a discussion about changing one of the labels on the controller, but that's by the by. Getting images published on push, I think, is the next step, right?
Yes, and so I have some links in Slack. I don't know if we want to go into this now or not. But yeah,
we'll move on for now. But yeah, like definitely we'll do that after the meeting as like unblocking people. So is anyone else blocked by? You've got some statements here. So what are you blocked by here?
Right, and so we can do this kind of post meeting, right? But Trivy, we've already discussed. File scanning is there. This publish thing is what we were just discussing. I have notes from long ago. I just forgot to open up a GitHub issue, but I'd like to review this this is around Bella and Joel and how the access control or the RBAC is subtly different. I just want to review. I have a Google Doc note that I wrote up a while ago. Review that. We can do it on the
namespace filter. I mean.
Yes.
So that when you're doing list workspaces on the workspace kind, on the spawner, it's a bit different because you only see the ones that are eligible for that profile. I guess,
yes. So those aren't really blockers. It's just things to do. And then, again, plan on the next 2 weeks of the next week. Trivy and then the Kubeflow notebooks release process are the most relevant and important to the upstream. And then, as I said, I'm working with, Adriel and others to kind of figure out Red Hat's strategy as a whole here, balancing upstream needs with, kind of then some of the customizations we'll do on like kind of, the Red Hat pickup of this.
I do think we should very carefully, like, I think we do need, not for you though, like, I'd say for you, the top priority, definitely it's a lot of facilitating work like you're doing, but we should both organize some time to go through and just like actually get these everything migrated and then just keep some links and overviews of what's happening here just so that we can understand. So that and if it doesn't work, we can try a different approach, but just like try and actually use it to figure out what we should be, like, it should show obviously what we should be doing next, like it should be, but again, in the short term, from my understanding, the thing that we need to do next is get it released. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. And obviously that's not going to work, but like, but we just need to have it be possible to deploy from the repo. And then that allows us to write end-to-end tests. It allows us to, which means that a bunch of work can start happening there.
Yes.
And of course, I also need to take a time and do some, and merge a bunch of, and finish up a bunch of controller PRs and backend PRs myself. And I will make some time in the next week to do that. I should have a couple days next week. But I will do some this week as well. But I don't want to, I think again that I don't want to get distracted from having the release, the security stuff as well. And then also just the tracking stuff. And I think that's more than enough time for you, obviously, in terms of open source stuff to have to do. So,
yep. But no, I completely, just to be clear, completely agree with that line of priority.
Yeah. Because like right now, I think as soon as we unblock the release, we are still going to be blocked by resourcing on other things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Sorry, anyway. But so, yes, okay. So like we should yeah, I guess the question is, it's almost like the planning is almost, we should organize a time to go through these and migrate them across aggressively.
Yes.
Just to try and get this doc empty effectively.
Yep.
Do you want to do that this week or?
Is there any other time other than Thursdays that we
That's what I mean, right? Do you want to do it
Yeah.
like on Tuesday or something, or
Yeah, I would love to. Whatever works for
like
you.
after
I'll
the,
move
you know what I
things
mean, like
around.
after the meeting, or something, like community meeting or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah, let me know. I will make time. If you can free something up, I'll make sure I'm available.
Yeah, because like then it will help us point to various people who can provide resource, and then be like, hey, here's the things that are going to be faster if we get another engineer that can do that.
Yes. Yep. Which is like fundamentally where we want to get to. Yeah.
And then and it also just other open source contributors can help, like not
Yes.
just people who only want to drop in and work on one thing and then leave, like that kind
Yes.
of, you can be like, hey, here's a contained problem. Of course, they probably shouldn't be in the critical path if they're not involved directly, but if they're, but anyway, I imagine that. But yeah, having an end-to-end deployable thing. Is there anything else I'm forgetting, guys, and other people, for like, what is the, like having a set of steps for an end user to deploy the project, install Kubernetes cluster, install Istio, install Set Manager, install the gateway, then install the dashboard dependencies and then the auth dependencies, and then get to the notebooks piece. Like, is there anything else that will be blocking for that, than what we've currently done? I don't think so, right? Like,
I don't think so. Like I said, I have that. I know it's like a tangentially related use case, but I have that version of the development script. But this, so I mean, this is really kind of adapting that to use actually published images. But I think once we like have those images, you know what I mean, we can very quickly rip out a document. Again, care taken on the, here's the commit to use, or do we have like a release script, or how that'll transform once we have those images and start to work up the doc. I think that's a very easy thing to clarify as everything else is laid out.
did we write it down last week? I don't think we did, right? Like that, like the specific ideas we had around how to actually do the steps. I guess we didn't agree on like how to actually overwrite the image tag and stuff.
Right. Yes, it's still kind of it was in the abstract.
But either way, those decisions can be made almost after we've actually got the PRs to actually.
That was kind of where my thought was, is let's actually like get something there, and then with real code we can just like write steps or a script, and if it fails, then our instructions suck and we fix them.
Yeah. Cool. And then that also connects back to all the dashboard work as well. So like, I guess we're going to be pulling from where, I guess that's, what I mean? Like, that's obviously up to, I guess that's a matter of timing, right? Because obviously it's a bit unfortunate to depend on the manifest repo before, but if we haven't merged the other one yet. We're going to be meeting on the manifest either way, actually, because that's where the auth lives. So
right, yeah. So yeah, my plan, like, I mean, this initial approach will probably be a little hybridy weird, but at least effective is kind of my goal there.
What I want to do, by the way, is I want to try and so this is good for the front end people to know this. I want to, in the next 2 weeks, let's say, this shouldn't take more than a week to actually get it working. And then I want to have something that we can show in a community meeting. You know what I mean? I want to do a demo. I know it's not going to be a good demo, but I want to show something to people. And obviously people who worked on the front end are free to actually participate in that demo and join in. But I think that will bring more people to work on it. And, like there's actually, we know that work is happening, but when you see something, you're like, oh no, there's actually like, and here's the places that need work. And it's like, if you're capable of helping us here, come in and help, these kind of, and there's a lot of people who attend those meetings, like 30, 40 people.
No, I think that's very viable. Paulo will be back to get those PRs of Guilherme and Charles merged next week. We'll, based on discussions we have later on today, we'll get the published story sorted out, and we can get an initial like rough, outline of steps discussed next week.
It doesn't need to be like a perfect, think of it like a product demo, like a slice demo, like where it's kind of like, you don't show, when you're demoing a game, you don't show the whole game, you just show a one walkthrough, and we can even, secretly kind of do some stuff behind the scenes to make it work, even if stuff isn't ready, but I think definitely we need the connecting piece to work though as well though, so that Hashad stuff is a little bit important. But I don't know if at worst we can still do other hacks to make that happen. If not, but again, it's not a blocker. That one's like the ideal path would be, hey, look, you can create a notebook. Here's the basic flow. And so I think we should definitely pipe clean the flow to make the creation look nice, at least, like just make sure we're all happy with that, because it'll be the first time people have seen it. And like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't want to keep everyone too long. So is there anything else we need to talk about here before we kind of go through kind of reviews? Anyone want to raise anything?
Yeah, me. Just for for the sake of the people who will work and stuff like that. For me, for Red Hat, it's going to be ideal if we can have a plan. A plan doesn't mean dates. A plan means steps. This first, done later, and so on and so forth. If you and Andy can prepare something like that.
So that's exactly what we were talking about with the.
Yeah. But what I mean is like that would be like especially helpful for me, because with that plan I can ask for people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I
time.
was saying is the top priority. Absolutely. Like, and that's
So-
where I'm. Eder and not Eder, Andy. Well, and maybe Eder, but Eder and Andy and I will probably go through and make it so that there is a visible place where it's like, here are the work items that remain to get to some level of something. Here are the epics, and here are the features, and here's the points where if more resources allocated, it would help. You know,
because that will even if I need more people, if we need more people to have a GA or whatever, maybe I can ask more contributors. But it's right now we are in the middle of some also internal product changes that we need to address. But without that plan, it's going to be impossible for me to say, hey, I need people here because there are other important things that maybe they already have a plan. So the better planning we have here, the better will be for me assign people to work on.
It's also important to like, if the goal, I feel like it makes sense for people like Red Hat to have a goal of having maintainers, right? And so people are maintainers, not companies, usually, right? So what I mean by that is like, so Red Hat has an interest in something existing. The goal should be support people on their payroll to be maintainers. You know what I mean? Like, so like that, and so like, it's like, and that means allocating time.
That is true, and that's what we are. But
absolutely,
we also have a party to pay.
Absolutely.
And that's why the more clarity we have in the plans, the better for me is to keep a healthy maintainers list. Because if not,
because like what I'm asking for is like you're thinking about it in terms of resource timing, which is great. That is true. But I'm thinking about it in terms of like, oh, I want Hashad to be working, you know, half a week every now and again. You know what I mean? Like have a blocks of time to work on stuff, so that then if he wants, he can become a maintainer. You know what I mean? Where he, you know, and then same like Andy's already doing, you know.
We have that, but sometimes there are other priorities that we need to address.
Of course,
it's not
those
because
in the end,
in the end, what we are, it's Kubeflow. It's a big Kubeflow flavor, right? So we need to address other stuff, and those are things that we cannot escape. For sure, all the team you see here, it's mainly focused on community. Anyway, there are things that are just Red Hat, and we still need to address them, and we need to balance the time. But for a better time balancing, we need some kind of idea of where we are, what are the next steps. Then we can go faster or slower, depending on the amount of people we have assigned to that. But if we have that clear idea, it will be easier for me to say, no, that's not a priority for me.
I think it's pretty clear that like even without a plan, it's impossible for the project to deliver a GA without at least a couple of FTE equivalent of specific people. You know what I mean? Like that's like, so like I think that's, and I don't think anyone would debate that even internally at Red Hat, right? So it's like if Red Hat wants a GA of a certain time, you know, Andy's great, other people are great, but like what I mean is like clearly some of like the planning we can and will get you that, but some of the resource lacking is so obvious that it doesn't need a plan. You know what I mean? It's like if Hashad just had, you know, 20 hours a week, you know what I mean? Like that would massively move the project forward, for example, you know, even like specific people, you know.
Yeah, but again,
I'm not saying I'm not asking for that, but I'm asking if Red Hat wants the project, they can make it.
Yeah, Red Hat wants the project. That's why we are all here. But again, there are things that that we need to prioritize internally.
Sure.
That's why Harshad cannot escape from that task, and he needs to be there. But as soon as he's going back, he will need to start. He will start working again on these.
And I'm not making any decision for you. All I'm saying is that from a community perspective, I don't really mind how it happens. I don't mind if Hashad needs to work on internal stuff. But what I need is commitments for specific people. You know what I mean? Like I can't just have people coming in and out. Like I want people to actually progress to maintainers, you know? And that's that's critical.
Yeah, and that's fine, but that's why I need a plan. If I have a plan, it will be easier for me to have those those people assigned to that, for sure. That's
Sure.
why I need the plan. If we have that,
yeah,
it will be, because that for me is another negotiation.
But it also
tool. One
doesn't
thing is-
end with GA, is what I'm saying, right? Like,
no, it doesn't. No,
Yeah.
we are here. We are committed here forever.
That's what I'm
Forever
saying. And
this project lives.
yeah, and I want
But-
people to, and obviously I want to bring more people in so that it's all everyone working together, and it solves everyone. You needs less resource than if multiple people, companies are involved. You know,
We will here forever, but right now we are in a split place. That's why we need to take care of other stuff in between. But if we have the plan and our committing here is like 2.0 notebooks, we are here because we want to commit here, not because this was something we are here because we are committed here. The more clarity in the plan, the better for me to get more stuff, even finding more people outside Red Hat.
oh yeah, of course. The goal is to make this a standard, right? The goal is for this to be the standard way to run interactive developer environments on Kubernetes.
Exactly. So again, let's have that plan, and for me, it's going to ease me the way to bring more attention and people into the project, and that will give us more resources, more servers, more everything. But I need some kind of plan.
Like, so my question for you is like, what is the sort of timeline on being able to get a commitment to have, like, you know, we've got amazing front end people that are doing great, but
Yeah.
like, what's the timeline on being able to get like serious commitments on the back end and the controller so that it's not just me? You know what I mean? Like, that's the part where I'm like, I need some Go engineers that are just like, that like a serious amount of their time is just allocated to this project, you know, like and without it, it's just the project isn't going to move that fast. Like if that's not possible, that's fine. But like, you know what I mean? Like, and I will make my time available to onboard them and get them up to speed quickly once I know that we have a commitment for a specific person, you know, like,
but again, that's why I need a plan. If I have the plan, then the commitment will be easier for me because I can go and negotiate in a different way.
so
Because
what would,
if we know
what
like
would it look
the,
like?
the
for you?
80% of the project is still backend, okay, I can go to the person who is requiring Harshad and say, hey, Harshad needs to go with me again, because if not, this is not going to happen. And that way is how I flow up the requirements.
So what would it look? What's the minimum that you would be able to do that with, so that we can get that next week? You know what I mean? Like, what's the minimum that you would need?
I need a set of steps for the GA for the end of the year. What's going to look like? And if we can't have that, then I can go and negotiate in a different way. Andy will help. Andy knows exactly what I need.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are going to work on some planning, that's going to be great, because that will allow me to say, hey, this is the picture. Let's find more people around. And there are people I have, there are people I don't. Maybe I can ask, maybe I cannot. It depends
Well, either way,
on many other things.
I can tell you right now, I need either from Red Hat or someone else, I don't mind who. I need long-term maintainers available for the backend and the controller, right? You know, that are more than just me. So like that means people with Go experience, senior to staff plus level engineering people to help lead that project from Red Hat side. You know what I mean? Where it's like they're going to be the person, like the goal should be that person can just be a maintainer. You know, then they get to have lots of influence, lots of ownership. But it's like right now, it's not that the people aren't able to do it. It's just that they don't have the time. You know what I mean? So it's like making them a maintainer without them having time to actually work on it doesn't do anything, right? So
and yeah, but again, that's fine, and we are committed to that. Actually, Harshad should be a maintainer in there, but
absolutely,
I need that plan, because if not, I cannot pull Harshad from where he is. I need that because I need Red Hat as a company need more information than just like a community project. Community project is fine. We are committed to that. We are going to we want to share this with you, but we need some kind of idea of where we're going, because if not,
overall the epics and stuff will give you that, but I also don't think they are going to change anything about the fact that I don't know how quickly you could be like, you know, move people's resource around, you know, like, so like if it's one of those things that can happen, because like if we're targeting a GA by the end of the year, that needs to happen as soon as possible. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. And so like that's
and that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, if we have the epics, we have everything. But if we have the plan, I can start pulling the threads right now. But I need that idea, that concept of, okay, GA is this, GA are these steps. We need Harshad right now.
Also, I'm thinking about it not just from like
I'm saying Harshad like
I know it's
could be anyone else. I mean, even I don't know. Maybe Charles can do some Golang too. But we need to understand what is the amount of work, because in the end, it's just that is okay, if we don't do this now, we won't get the GA. That is what I need.
But also
and
that's
that
not
gives
like
me tools.
But you're thinking about it as targeting GA. I'm thinking about targeting it as making the project sustainable. Like, I think fundamentally we might not actually be aligned yet. Like, we need to align on the fact that the goal of this project is to continue existing. And
But
and GA, it needs to start existing, which means GA, right? But
yes.
it also needs to actually continue existing. You know what I mean? Like, and the only way it does that is if it has a backend maintainer that isn't just me. You know, like for example.
What I'm trying to say is that we are not going to disappear. GA is because
I'm not worried about you disappearing. I'm just saying, like,
no,
we're all aligned on the actual goal, I think, but like, we need to, like, the mechanics of how a neutral standard project needs to emerge, you know, is that maintainers are people, right? And people are donated their time either out of the goodness of their heart or from their company. That, like, all I'm saying is, like, it should, like, we can get you what you need, and we will.
That's fine.
And what I'm saying is,
we
like,
will have a very long and healthy community. That's
absolutely, yeah. And then we can bring
that's
them
for
together.
sure.
Because I want you guys to be a maintainer. I want you guys to be a maintainer, obviously, right? Yeah, no, I mean, like, I really do, of these pieces. But right now, like, I just don't have time enough commitments from people to make them maintainers. You know what I mean? Like, that's my, like, yeah. And
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, yeah.
I totally agree with
and
that.
So if that's the message you need to send, it's like, okay, we want to maintain this project because we use it. That's how you get it, right? And then I feel safe to be like, yep, that person is actually going to be here because they're, you know, they've got 3 days a week that in emergencies, yeah, people take their time, whatever. But like, no, yeah.
But that again, I think we are in this chicken and egg situation of like what comes first. Like, help me preparing a plan, and I will do my best to pull all the people I can into the project. There is no problem with that. We want to be maintainers. We want to have a very long time commitment to the project. There is no reason for us to do anything else but this project, because this is Kubeflow Notebooks is the project we are aiming to contribute and to have a very long relationship with. So, but again, I need some certainties to have that power to negotiate with other people. It's not me. It's not because of me. It's because of I need that information to negotiate in a different way. Just that. It's getting longer. I will do my best to bring more people and to have more time assigned for the people who needs to be here. But please help me prepare the plan. If we can have that, it will be even
so again, a plan is a very abstract term though. So is a plan just a list of tasks, or is it like I need 3 FTE full-time, one backend, one front end, one thing, one controller, and they need to be a consistent person. You know what I mean? They can't just be random people swapping in and out. You know, like, is that what, like, because there's like a resource plan, and there's also the actual project plan, right? And since we're so early, we're not actually that early, but we're getting close to delivery, but we're pretty early. It's like, you know.
Yeah, probably both. I mean, in terms of what people, I understand, and that's something I can work with Andy on, understanding how many engineers do we need. But I think that, again, there are tasks, there are people we can move, and that depends a lot on that part of the plan. Let's discuss this. I think if it's needed.
Sure.
Don't worry about this. And let's continue with review. I don't want to make this conversation longer, but I think that we can work on something together.
And momentum will beget momentum. Like, as soon as we start demoing the thing, other people will want to be on board as well, I'm sure.
Of course. And again, I think that we are closer to end the other things that we have around that are bothering us internally at Red Hat to start contributing more and more on this. But we need this kind of information also to
I just don't want to let it be I don't want to let it be in a nebulous target though, right? Like, it seems like we agree on the outcome, right? Which is that we want Kubernetes to work really well for AI and machine learning and data development workloads. We all agree on that. Yeah. As part of that, we agree that there needs to be a neutral and standard set of tools to run that workload type on Kubernetes. One of those tools is an interactive environment. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so to do that, we need notebooks and workspaces, if you will. And so we all agree that it needs to exist. And we've got a very great opportunity to make a standard occur even. So we all agree on the actual outcome, but it's like the way that Kubeflow has managed to maintain its independence and neutrality is through some of these methods, right? Like, being maintainer person driven, like progressing people up to be like take ownership of pieces. And so so there's like, I just want to be clear on what we need to actually get you give to you guys to be able to negotiate appropriately. You know what I mean? Like that internally. That's kind of what I mean, right? That's where I'm trying to support, because we all agree on the goal, and even the people at your company will agree on the goal, right? So like, it's like if we all agree on that, then we should be like, it feels like there's not been a lot of movement, right? Like the thing that I'm a bit worried about is that I always like the great people are assigned to the project, but they're not, it doesn't feel like they're committed right now. Like Andy's great. It is great. And I'm not saying they're not, we don't really want to talk about. I'm just saying like, I don't see a path that we don't have like, okay, this person is now seriously time committed to this project until delivery, and we can evaluate to make sure they're being effectively used, to make sure that if people at Red Hat are concerned, being like, oh, we don't know if they're actually being used effectively or they're blocked by other things, great. But like right now, the thing I feel like is slowing down the GA, which again is the goal, right? Is just time, right? It's just time. Like, yeah.
So, I mean, all of this is valid. I think like I understand what Adriel's looking for, Matthew. I have opinions on stuff. Let's get this plan put together. From that plan that we agree is MVP, we get detailed tasks written out. This is what's been slowing me down. It's difficult to scope, picking arbitrary things, right? Logos and icons, we know we need them. Do we need to support caching from URLs versus config maps? And it's like getting these granular details of these are all the
I don't
steps.
think that's what the execs at Red Hat need, though. I think what the execs at Red Hat need is like, who are the people? And like, because the way I view it is from the people, right? And so like, that's like, so it's
But
more like
everything is trade-offs, right? Just to say we need 3 people, the obvious question is going to be, what do you need them
Why?
for?
I don't
And
need
for
3
that, we
people.
need the
What I'm
plan.
saying is like, what I need is a maintainer of backend, and I need a maintainer of controller, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't really mind how that gets structured. That could be 1 person. It could be 2 people. It could be 3. Could be, and it will be over time, multiple people, right? Because those projects will naturally evolve as separate projects in the ecosystem of notebooks and workspaces. And so like, all I'm saying is, yes, we can do those tasks, and we need to do those for our own planning and execution reasons. But it seems unlikely to me that an exec at Red Hat is hesitant to allocate 1 FTE based off not knowing about whether we're choosing a logo or not. It's more like
But I mean, that's just an example on a culmination of things, right? Like what is the next priority and detailed implementation steps around it after releasing? We don't have that right now, right? We don't have a plan to say, here's why we need 2 more full-time people.
I think the assumption is that we don't really have any full-time people right now. So like the assumption is that to have a project at all, you need maintainers. And so like, and what I view as a maintainer is a long-term committed person who is trusted to own a specific area of the project. And I feel like that's an argument that Red Hat would totally understand. Like that's what happens in the Linux kernel, is what happens in Kubernetes, where it's like, and it's like, so the part of the plan is just a spreadsheet, which is like, who are the maintainers? Like, you know what I mean? Like right now, the answer is Andy, yes, and me, yes, and Eder somewhat, like, but who else? You know what I mean? And Jenny seems to be doing a lot of stuff on the front end. Like these are great, but like that's like, I feel like that's the actual plan aspect, where it's like, yeah, we've got these tasks and the goal for these dates, yes, but it's like there's like a foundation that you build all those on, which is like, who are the maintainers, right? Like, and like, yeah. I don't know. Maybe we're disagreeing and agreeing at the same time. I don't know. But it's just I'm just trying to express my feelings, so that my goal is to get it as quickly out as possible, and I think everyone agrees with that. And I think that's what's currently where the resistance might be being felt, which is like that.
I'm not disagreeing with you, right? Just my take is, right, if we had a senior person join today, we have no tasks as written for them to start working on something right now. We have ideas and we have these working group notes, but like what actually would they work on, and how do we expect them to implement that? Like we know we have these abstract thoughts of culling and all this, but it's really like, what is the acceptance criteria? What are we expecting them to build beyond like implement culling?
Well,
right?
I'm saying it's pretty clear that people are people, right? It's like someone with experience in Go and Kubernetes is necessary. That just, there is tasks there. Like we've got hundreds of tasks that are related to that, and even if not, there still needs to be someone who's maintaining that long term either way. So you know what I mean? Like so how much time is required of that person? Who knows? But we just need, you know, some commitment. You know what I mean? Like at 10 hours a week minimum, 20 hours a week preferred, full time amazing. But like, you know what I mean? And like, so like that's the part where it's like there's clearly a piece of resource missing in the back end and control it. That's what I'm saying. Like, exceptionally so. And it's like we can, and where I'm like, and that's where I'm like, where I'm hoping that we can resolve that in the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean? A week even, right? You know what I mean? And if that requires, I just need to know the exact, like, because it seems like we should all agree that that is the thing that is necessary. Like we need a backend and controller maintainer who is not me. You know what I mean? Right? And I want to get that to happen. And again, they don't need to be a maintainer on day one. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they need to be onboarded enough, either as an existing person who's involved or a new person. And like,
And
But
that
I
is
mean, like,
and that is
I
fine.
totally hear you. I think, but like Kubeflow itself complicates this, right? We spent the first 35 minutes of this call talking about Notebooks v1 and publishing Kubeflow dashboard. And I know tangentially that is all related to support Notebooks v2, but like even my time spent on Kubeflow is not spent
I don't want
writing
so
back
again,
end code,
and those are
right?
and those are great considerations, right? Obviously, there is overall health of the project that Red Hat also is concerned about. So like those, we all understand how those priorities are coming about, but that's another resource thing where it's like, if maybe that's another solution for Red Hat is like if even if they can't see it for notebooks, well, they just need overall people to help out. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like overall tactical engineering help for Kubeflow as a project, you know, like to take some of that work away from Andy. I don't know, right? It's like for a dashboard, maybe, you know, like that's kind of one example. But again, I'm not saying how Red Hat should do it. I'm just saying that however it happens, like there's a clear lack of resource in backend and controller of committed time from someone, right? That's and I will make my time available to make sure that they are able to deliver and give them the permissions they need once we have that person. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying.
Again, that's fine. Let's work on that. Let's work on that, and let's see how we make that. For sure, the idea is to have that commitment, but I also need the plan. So let's work on both things at the same time, and we'll unblock everything. So
yeah. Anyway, well, we can talk more offline, I think. But yeah, let's anything else we need to talk about in the recording? Anyone else want to raise any comments about what we've just talked about? Okay, cool. I'm going to stop the recording for now, and we can do some code review, I guess.